हरि। श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुग गौड़िया गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट पदार्थ गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। Ananta Koti Vaishnav. Oh, today is the birthday, appearance day of Sripad Bhakti Sarvasva Govinda Maharaj, who just very recently left his body. So, Jai Shri Bhakti Sarvasva Govinda Maharaj ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai. All of his articles ki Jai. All of his writings ki Jai. All right, Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Let's do the Mangalacharan first and then I'll talk. Let me get that up. Ajnanatirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Puriya Gurvanvaye Bhatur Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Varati Mingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jivan Niman Krishna Prema Sudhabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje. Vande Shri Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajang Radharasa Sudhanidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Saccidānanda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vrishabhanusutan Vitavamatanum Yamuna Tatanagarananda Sutam Murali Kalagita Vinora Parang Bhajagodrumakanana Kunja Vidham Smara Gaura Gadadhara Keli Kalam Bhava Gaura Gadadhara Pakshachara Shrinu Gaura Gadadhara Charu Katham Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunja Vidham Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tvang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptascha Kamadhitaranga Madhe Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Let's see, on YouTube there is Vidyalala Sadidi, and here on Zoom there is who? Hare Krishna, Ashray Prabhu, Satya Mataji, Akshat Prabhu, Nari Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Ajay Krishna Prabhu, Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, Krishna Mai Didi, Manjulali Didi, Sri Devi Didi, Archana Didi, and Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. All right, so today we are, oops, one second, let me just, there. Okay, so this is our, what is it? Our 9th Raise of the Harmonist Iṣṭa-goṣṭhī session. Today we're reading an article by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura that was published in, forgot which issue of Raise of the Harmonist. It was republished in this issue right here, the 2014 edition. And the title is Mātsarya Envy. I haven't read it yet myself, actually. I put it on my Kindle and I was reading it while last night and I fell asleep before I could get to the end. So we're all reading it together for the first time, I mean. But at any point, if anybody, if there's any ever like a relevant point that comes to your mind, yeah, if you just have anything to share or a question or anything in the middle of the reading, feel free to jump in. And yeah, you don't need to, you can raise your hand if you like, but I might miss it. So it's good if you just jump in sometimes. All right. Yeah, I made the mistake of going to Facebook this morning. Not a good idea. I had to write about something, that crazy incident, and then my mind just got distracted. So what I did for like the half hour before this program started, I went to Folio and I've got a bunch of quotes together on the topic of Mātsarya Envy from our acharyas, but I only as much as I could. Actually, it was less. I was like 20 minutes. I was able to collect a bunch of quotes. So I'm not so clear on them myself, but there were some really good ones. So maybe we could also go through those. All right. Let me share my screen. For those of you who haven't done so already, we have a mailing list for this Raise of the Harmonist Iṣṭa-goṣṭhī group. And 24 hours before these sessions, I send out the article. And I make a PDF, no, not a PDF, ebook, EPUB, that you could use on your Kindle or on your phone or anything of the article. So that's what I'm using to read right now. You can take a look. So if you want to also receive that in your inbox, go to raiseoftheharmonist.com and you can enter your email there. See, I've made ebooks these are all the different articles that we read, ebooks for each one. All right. You like the cover I made? Mātsarya Envy. Okay. Yeah, as a table of contents and all that. All right. The meaning of the word Mātsarya and who is fit for the non-envious religion of love. One second, I'm just gonna make this there. Okay. Now I can see the comments. Vidya Lala Sadidi is asking if it's possible to install Folio on Mac. Yeah, but it's a bit difficult. You have to use another, yeah. I use something called Crossover, and it makes it so you can install Windows programs on a Mac, but it costs money. But yeah, it is possible. Okay, the meaning of the word Mātsarya and who is fit for the non-envious religion of love. The word Mātsarya is used with different meanings in different contexts. Among its various meanings, we find enviousness of others, enviousness of others' good fortune, distressed because of their success, malice, and jealousy. Wherever the word Mātsarya has been used in the Vaishnava scriptures, it refers to that mood which is adverse to prem, to pure love. Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsa saranang satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kingva Parair Ishvara Sadhyo Hridyavarudyate Trakriti Shushrusubhistakshanat. Srimad Bhagavatam, second verse from the beginning. In this Bhagavat Purana, where fraudulent religiosity and other mundane goals of humankind have been utterly forsaken, the supreme spiritual duty, the Parama Dharma, has been expounded. That Parama Dharma is pure bhakti yoga, exemplified by those saints who are absolutely free from envy and full of compassion for all living beings. The supreme truth within uproots the three forms of misery and grants the highest form of bliss. When those with ample spiritual merit desire to listen to the message of this beautiful Bhagavatam, which was authored by Mahamuni Sri Narayan himself, then the Supreme Lord Sri Hari is immediately and permanently captured within their hearts. What is the need of any other message? So this Parama Dharma expounded in Srimad Bhagavatam is exemplified by those saints who are absolutely free from envy. They are nirmatsar and are full of compassion for all living beings. This statement defines who is fit to practice Parama Dharma, the supreme spiritual duty propounded by Srimad Bhagavatam, and to relish the liquid humors of pure love, of prem ras. To relish the liquid humors of prem ras is truly the supreme spiritual duty that this gospel enjoins. Those who are without envy, who are nirmatsar, are the only ones fit to practice this Paramadharma. Nirmatsarata means the quality of being free from Mātsarya, from envy. Within the context of this verse, commentators have explained Mātsarata as feeling happiness upon seeing the misery of others and misery upon seeing their happiness. But if the meaning of the word Mātsarata is not illuminated in detail, it will not be understood by common people. That definition of Mātsarya, we just went through it recently in our Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura program. What is it? It was para sukhe dukhi. Yeah, para sukhe dukhi. So misery upon seeing the happiness of others, and para dukkha sukha koro. When I see others miserable, it makes me happy. So that is Mātsarya. But now we need to understand it in detail. Otherwise, it won't be understood by common people. Okay. The gang of 6 foes and the cause of their combined appearance. The jivas, confined by ignorance, have been entrapped in mundanity by the rope of the 6 foes, the Shadavarga. Lust, kam, anger, krodh, greed, lobha, delusion, moha, pride, mada, and envy, Mātsarya. These 6 are called Shadavarga, and they are nothing but other forms of the 5 types of misery, namely ignorance, avidya, egotism, asmita, infatuation, abhinivesh, vehemence, raga, and hatred, dvesh. Wow. So the Shadavarga, the 6 enemies, lust, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and envy, are nothing other than ignorance, egotism, infatuation, vehemence, and hatred. Those are the 5 types of klesh. Pancha klesh. Extreme absorption in gross material objects gives rise to lust. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 62 to 63, lust is described as follows. Okay, so now Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura is taking us through the first of these, of the Shadavarga, of the 6 foes, lust. In Bhagavad Gita, it says, Dhyayato Vishayang Pungsang, Dhyayato Vishayang Pungsa, Sangasteshu Pajayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kamat Krodho Vijayate, Krodhad Bhavati Sammoha, Sammohat Smriti Vibhrama, Smriti Bhrangshat Buddhi Nasho, Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. The meaning of these verses is as follows. By meditating on the sense objects, one inwardly mingles with them. As such association with sense objects in the form of acute absorption in them gives rise to lust, kam, which inevitably leads to anger, krodha. Anger gives rise to some moha, that is greed, lobha, to enjoy the sense objects even by unfair means. Greed for sense objects leads to the loss of memory, moha, which in turn destroys the intelligence. Or in other words, it leads to pride, mada, wherein one fails to distinguish between virtue and evil. That pride leads to utter ruination, Mātsarya, which severely distorts the living entity's natural loving tendency. Wow. So the culmination of that, all those things mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, from kama to krodha to samoha to lobha to moha to mada, finally it all ends up with Mātsarya. This severely distorts the living entity's natural loving tendency. Okay. So yeah, Mātsarya is like the polar opposite of love. The means to conquer the enemy. Bhagavad Gita 3:43 instructs us, Evam buddhe parang buddhva sangstabhyatmanamatmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. The meaning is as follows. Realize that the soul who belongs to the spiritual domain transcends the intelligence. Controlling the minds through the principle of resolute determination, conquer that inextinguishable enemy known as calm. So the means to conquer the enemy, what is the means? To realize that the soul who belongs to the spiritual domain transcends the intelligence, controlling the minds through the principle of resolute determination, conquer that inextinguishable enemy known as calm. Okay. All the foes are within Mātsarya. From all these instructions, it is clearly understood that by misunderstanding the nature of our true self, in other words, due to Sarup Brahm, the seed of lust sprouts in our hearts and gradually grows into the tree of envy, thus sending prem, which is Jaiva Dharma, or the true nature of all living entities, far away. Lust, kam, anger, krodha, greed, lobha, delusion, moha, and pride, mada, are all included in envy in Mātsarya. Kam, krodha, lobha, moha, and mada are included in envy in Mātsarya. Lust is included in anger. Lust and anger are both included in greed. Lust, anger, and greed are within delusion. And lust, anger, greed, and delusion are found within pride, which refers to all kinds of pride, including pride in one's wealth, in one's beauty, in one's bodily prowess, in one's high caste, and in one's erudition. But envy, Mātsarya, encompasses all of this: lust, anger, greed, delusion, and all kinds of pride. Wow. I heard something, I was once sitting in a class of Parameshwari Prabhu in Vrindavan and Rup Sanatan Gauḍīya Math. He was giving classes on Madhurya Kadambini. And I remember one thing he was talking about is similar, but the opposite of this, that in Madhurya Kadambini, I think it was, what was the section? One second, let me just open up the Madhurya Kadambini chart really quick, just so I get it completely accurately. Yeah, I'll share my screen. You can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So in Madhurya Kadambini, after there's Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha, and then these two leaves grow, right? The first leaf is Kleshagni, and the second is Shubhada. And it's interesting, we just read about Kleshagni, how these 5 types of misery, avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, and abhinivesh, are just other forms of, are the results of, I forgot how he worded it, but are kam, krodha, lobha, moha, these 6 enemies. But then also there's Shubhada, right? That's the second leaf that sprouts along on this bhakti lata, the vine of devotion. And for the main thing with Shubhada is that there's a distaste for objects that are unrelated to Bhagavan and a thirst for that which is related to Bhagavan. But then also some things that come with Shubhada is anukulya, kindness, kripa, mercy, kshama, forgiveness, satya, truthfulness, saaralya, simplicity, samya, equality, patience, gravity, honoring others, not expecting respect, sarva, sober, all good fortune. But then what Parameshwari Prabhu was saying is that all these good qualities, kindness, mercy, forgiveness, truthful, simplicity, equality, all these qualities are contained within kritagyata, within gratitude. Gratitude encompasses all other good qualities like that. Yeah, and so it's just kind of a similar point, but opposite of Mātsarya encompasses every lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, madness, and on the other side, gratitude encompasses what is it? Kindness, forgiveness, truthfulness, simplicity, equality, patience, all those things. Okay. All sorts of miseries are included in envy, and a man prone to envy is devoid of compassion for other living beings. All the miseries of the living beings are truly embodied in envy. Wow. Two types of ignorance, namely unrighteous ignorance and righteous ignorance, wicked acts and the desire to act wickedly, pap and pap vasana, and commendable acts and the desire to act commendably, punya and punya vasana, are all included within envy. Interesting. So, what is that? Unrighteous ignorance and righteous ignorance, wicked acts and the desire to act wickedly, commendable acts and the desire to act commendably, all these are included within envy. So, yes, Satyamataji.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt. So when I was reading this, the desire to act commendably sounded like not envy. Like you should want to act commendably, but then you just showed the Bhakti Lata and it said not expecting respect.
Yes.
Right. So now that's very clear that that is adverse to prema.
You see like amongst like ultra wealthy people, they're really into charity, but most of the time they don't really care about the charitable cause. It's all for like, look, I just gave this much money, and it's actually all I just saw a YouTube thing about it. The whole philanthropy like whole thing, it's a lot of it is a big sham. And it's just to show and it's actually not benefiting people like it looks like. And it's all just to show how generous and how philanthropic. How do you say that word? Philanthropic they are.
Yeah. I think that the commendability part of it is that someone has seen you do it. And so they say, oh, isn't that person so wonderful? But that is something that's going to pull us down, not raise us up. So,
yes.
yeah. And I'm not expecting respect.
Yeah.
We do these things because they are motivated by prema.
Yes.
So thank you for showing that.
Thanks for bringing up that point. It's very, very, yeah, makes it a lot more clear what that means.
I made notes and everything, it's like,
oh my God. You should be leading this program. I'm not.
No. But I didn't read it.
You
did your homework. I did it.
So what is unrighteous? What is righteous ignorance? That was confusing to me.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Righteous ignorance. I have no idea. Does anybody else have an idea what righteous ignorance is? Righteous ignorance. Unrighteous ignorance. Righteous ignorance. I mean,
I've experienced people with self-righteous ignorance. I don't know if that's what it means.
Maybe self-righteous ignorance.
It's not the pious activities.
What was that?
I think it's like pious and activities and the impious activities, one and the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it'd be helpful also to see the Bengali because then but that makes sense.
The Sanskrit is there. You can search for the Sanskrit.
Oh yeah, the Sanskrit was there. What did it say? No, just for these two, it wasn't there, unfortunately. For all the others, it was there. I can look. I could try to find the original Bengali article though afterwards, also, and just to. Okay, so the principles of Vaishnavism, Vaishnav Dharma, namely compassion for all living entities, Jive Doya, the loving inclination to chant the holy name, Name Ruchi, and service to the Vaishnavas, Vaishnav Seva, stands directly opposed to the condition of envy. Those who feel distress upon seeing the happiness of others can never feel compassion for the living entities, and their hearts can never be suffused with the nectar of love of God. They maintain hatred and jealousy towards Vaishnavas, a hatred that arises from the long-standing distortion of their constitutional nature. Only those who are free from envy can embrace the import of even humbler than grass. Only those who are free from envy have imbibed the true meaning of the verse beginning Trinad Api. Sriman Mahaprabhu has said, Trinad Api Sunichena, Tarod Api Suhishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. That's Shikshashtak, verse 3. Only he who feels lower than a blade of grass and who is more tolerant than a tree, who expects no honor for himself, but who is able to give due respect to all others, is qualified to perpetually chant the holy names of Hari. A person who is free from envy possesses no false pride for wealth, beauty, high caste, education, or mundane physical strength, and therefore regards himself as even more insignificant, more sunichena, more insignificant than a blade of grass. Such a person is also free from anger, aggressiveness, and violence. On account of that, he is even more tolerant, sahishnuna. He is more tolerant than a tree. That is, he is exceedingly compassionate. A person such as this, who is free from envy and false pride in his caste, education, and so on, despite being blessed with all virtue, never craves recognition or adoration from others. Thus, he is amani, one who does not expect honor from anyone. That person, being free from envy, always feels happiness in the happiness of others and pain in their sorrow. And so he treats all living beings with due honor, manada. In general, by being compassionate toward all living beings, he shows respect to them all. By offering great honor to noble souls like Brahmanas, priests, and Vaishnav Prai to unperfected Vaishnavas, he pleases them. And while devoting himself to the lotus feet of perfected Vaishnavas, he serves them. Wow, so it seems like envy has, like within envy, there are so many other qualities, right? It's like the root of all these terrible things. And it seems, and all these terrible things within envy, like the opposite is all the things that we're trying, that we're aspiring to cultivate, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, I think that there's that false ego involved in all of these things. The commendable, the unrighteous ignorance, the righteous, there's this false ego involved in all of that.
Yeah, and I mean that in that Bhagavad Gita verse, right? That was Dhyato Vishaya Pungsam. Greed, all these things. Anger gives rise to greed to enjoy sense objects by unfair. Greed rises to, so pride is pride leads to utter ruination, Mātsarya. So this pride leads to Mātsarya, which severely distorts the living entity's natural loving tendency. Yeah. Okay. So the 10 symptoms of the non-envious. 1. He who is free from envy by his very nature never criticizes sadhus. I just mentioned that envy is the opposite of everything that we're aspiring for. And this is now going through the 10 offenses to the holy name. So, yeah, anyways, that's just very interesting, isn't it? So the 10 symptoms of the non-envious is that he who is free from envy by his very nature never criticizes sadhus, saints. 2, he does not consider demigods to be independent lords, for his intelligence is absorbed only in Sri Krishna yet he does not disregard them. 3, he has faith, he has Shraddha in Sri Guru and all other superior devotees as befits each of them. 4, he offers respect to the bhakti scriptures like the Shrutis. And there's a footnote here with this footnote. It says, which includes Srimad Bhagavatam and the Upanishads. 5, abandoning meaningless arguments. He apprehends how the holy name is the topmost meaningful attainment, the paramartha, a perception rooted in perfect conviction that the holy name, that Nam and its owner, Nami, are one and the same. 6, he never engages in wickedness while depending on the protection of the holy name. 7, he does not consider the auspiciousness of ordinary piety, such as societal dharma, religious vows, vrat, or renunciation, to be comparable in any way to chanting the holy names. 8, he tries to inculcate faith in the faithless, but never grants them the holy name until that faith has awakened. 9, he believes completely in the glories of the holy name as described in the scriptures. And 10, and he is devoid of any sense of I and mine in relation to mundanity. O readers, non-enviousness alone is liberation for the living being, and envy is his only bondage. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 9, verse 361, it has therefore been said, Chaitanya Charita Shuno Shraddha Bhakti Kori Mātsarya Charya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari. Endowed with full faith and devotion, listen to the life work of Sri Chaitanya. Cast aside envy and let your mouth sing Hari Hari. Translated from the Sri Gauḍīya Patrikā, year 5, issue 5, and it was published first in Rays of the Harmonist, number 22, Kartik 2010. I like how it ended on such a positive note like that. Endowed with full faith and devotion, listen to the life work of Sri Chaitanya, cast aside envy, and let your mouth sing Hari Hari. Hari Hari. I really love how Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, all throughout, in all of his writings, in Jaiva Dharma, and just everywhere, he always gives all emphasis on Harinam. It's like probably one of his main emphases throughout everything that he writes. And that's how he ended this. The opposite of the 10 offenses to the holy name are the symptoms of somebody who's non-envious. That's really interesting. That's I like that. What does it mean to be non-envious? The opposite to the 10 offenses of the holy name. Yep. I found a really nice quote from let's see, let me just kind of similar to this positive thing. We can see how the residents of Raj are completely non-envious. There was a beautiful section of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. I just found it this morning. Well, here's one thing. I mean, this isn't what I was just talking about. Sorry for the weird diacritics. Oh, wait, I can make it in Balaram and then it will remove. 1 second, let me just put this in Balaram. Okay, make this bigger so you can all see. Okay, so in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the part 2, chapter 1, verse 20, this isn't what I was talking about, but I just want to share this first. So there in Vaikuntha, every devotee's bhav, their transcendental sentiment, or their ras, their transcendental relationship, reaches its ultimate limit and makes him experience the zenith of happiness. However, what is the destination of Ras Bihari Shri Krishna's extraordinary rasic devotees who are expert in tasting transcendental loving exchanges? So then I haven't actually read Brihad Bhagavatamrita yet, And so is the Digdarshini Tika, is that Manjulali Didi, is that Gurudev or is that Śrīla Sanatana Goswami? I think it's Sanatana Goswami, but I don't know. No, I think it's Gurudev. Anyways, whatever. It says,
I
one
think
might...
it's Sanatana Goswami.
It's Sanatana Goswami. Okay, so this is Sanatana
Yeah,
Goswami, his own commentary on his verses. Okay, thank you. So one might object that if hierarchy applies to the 5 types of devotees, it is possible that some may be experiencing less happiness. This is not correct, however, because devotees who attain Vaikuntha are more glorious than those who are liberated, and it is only reasonable that they experience far greater happiness than liberated souls. To dispel this doubt, Sri Uttara speaks this verse beginning with param kashtam. Here the word param, meaning supreme, is an adjective modifying happiness. The implication is that the quality of happiness in Vaikuntha is vastly superior and therefore reaches the ultimate limit, or param kashtam. If this is true, then a hierarchy of the 5 categories of devotees seems illogical. Therefore, in this context, the words tat tat, meaning each according to his own, have been used to say that it is appropriate that those devotees achieve a level of happiness commensurate to their natural inherent ras, their relationship with the Lord, or their bhav, their ecstatic mood. Each one enjoys in his heart the ultimate limit of happiness corresponding to his own spiritual relationship. Sri Uttara says, however, what is to be the destination of devotees who have love for the lotus feet of he who is the performer of Ras Leela, Sri Gopi Ramana, that Lord who is the beloved of the gopis? Their natural love for him is extraordinary and completely indescribable. To which abode are they to be elevated? The Shuddha Bhaktas experience a more unique happiness in their devotional service than the Jnani Bhaktas, whose devotion is tinged with knowledge of the Lord's opulence. In this regard, however, there is no scope for rivalry or envy to be the cause of gradation in the status of these devotees. This is because such defects, which result in distress and lamentation, are removed in the stage of sadhan bhakti, initial devotional practice, by dint of the nature of bhakti itself. These devotees who are absorbed in the supreme prema Vaikuntha obtain devotional happiness that is free from material designations in accordance with their individual capacity. Shuddha Bhaktas never hanker for the happiness of residing in Vaikuntha. And so we see that everybody is complete 100%. They've reached the ultimate limit of perfection in their own rasas with Krishna. So there's no reason to ever feel envy towards anybody. And even that envy is destroyed, even in sadhan bhakti, that envy is destroyed. Anyway, so yeah, that's why pure devotees are completely nirmatsar. But that's not actually what I wanted to read. This is the thing that I really, this is Brihad Bhagavatamrita, chapter 4, verse 45, second part. So here, na Mātsarya dayo dosha santi kasyapi teshu hi guna swabhavika bhanti nitya satya sahasrasha. No defect such as envy is found in anyone in Vaikuntha. Rather, they possess thousands of good qualities such as friendliness, humility, and respect. These virtues are eternal and real. So in the Digdarshini Tika, Śrīla Sanatana Goswami says, Sri Gopakumar says, actually, there is no hierarchy among the Vaikuntha residents. Although externally there seems to be hierarchy, there is no envy among them, and so no discord arises. Envy, matsar, means the inability to tolerate the excellence of others. Similarly, they do not possess the defects of rivalry, spardha, jealousy, asuya, contempt, tiraskar, and so on. Rather, they are full of thousands of virtues, including mutual friendliness, courtesy, and respect, and all these qualities are eternal. The Brahman might raise the following doubt. As Maya is beginningless, cannot illusory qualities also be eternal? To address this, Gopakumar says, all the qualities of the residents of Raj are real or satya. They are not false or momentary like illusory or mayic qualities. The reason for this is that that all those qualities are innate. They are neither created nor destroyed. And then Sri Brahma states in Srimad Bhagavatam, so these are the in Canto 3, Chapter 15, verses 18 to 19. I'm not going to read the Sanskrit, but this is so beautiful. Listen to this. Brahma says, when the bumblebees sweetly hum in Vaikuntha, it seems as if they are singing the pastimes of Lord Hari. Hearing this, all the birds, such as pigeons, cuckoos, cranes, the chakravaka, chatak, swans, parrots, partridges, and peacocks, cease the clamor of their cries and singing for a moment, and become absorbed in listening to those narrations of pastimes of the Lord, the Hari Katha. That's so beautiful. And then Sri Bhagavan adorns his divine form with tulsi and honors her fragrance. Seeing this, all the flowers, the mandara, the parijata, kunda, kuvar, purabaka, champak, punnaga, nagakeshar, vakula, utpal, and kamal, who themselves are full of fragrance, acknowledge the superiority of Tulsi's austerities, and thus they praise her. These two verses show that the ability to tolerate the superiority of others fully manifests the quality of friendliness. In Vaikuntha, the eternal associates are present in forms such as pigeons, etc. Therefore, their qualities are innate, eternal, and true. Feeling that they are all equal with each other, those residents of Vaikuntha serve the Lord in innumerable forms in small ways and in great ways. This subject will be discussed later. So when we're struggling with our envy, we can just turn to Brihad Bhagavatamrita and get some inspiration from how the residents of Vaikuntha are completely free from envy. All right, so does anybody have anything, just on anything that we read, does anybody have anything they'd like to, any thoughts that come to mind, anything they'd like to share? Any insights?
Haribol for me and my father and Nitai.
Oh,
We're
Dandavat
walking.
Pranam, Rasarat Prabhu and
Dandavat
Nitai.
pranam.
Haribol. Yes. All right, we still have,
Hare Krishna.
yes,
Hare Krishna, sorry.
yes,
I
Archana
just
Didi, yes.
how vehemence was raga. Raga normally means attachment or something like that. What does vehemence mean? Because it was translated as vehemence or whatever. How
Yeah,
you
vehement.
pronounce it?
Well, rag has two meanings. Rag does also mean anger. Like in Bengali, the common way to say anger is rag. But rag also means attachment. In that context, rag dvesh. I think it means anger in that context. Oh no, actually attachment.
Rag dvesh is like
Yeah,
attachment and
attachment and hatred. Yeah.
hatred.
Yeah, let's look up the I'm just looking at the dictionary definition of vehemence. The vehemence of the tongue, right? That's in the first verse of Upadesh Amrita. So yeah, it could also, let's just see. Oops. Vehemence. The display of strong feeling, passion. Okay, right. Yeah, so that's also passion, attachment, passion, display of strong feeling. So I
Okay,
think that,
bro, I got it. Got it.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
We still have like, what is it, 6 minutes or 7 minutes? So if you like, I could go through some more quotes that I was finding. They're just random quotes though. It's not like in any particular order. But unless somebody else has something to share on anything that we read. Okay, so let's here's some more positive things about how devotees are free from envy. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 13 to 14. So Krishna says, my devotee who is non-envious, compassionate, and friendly toward all living beings, free from feelings of possessiveness for sons and family members, devoid of false ego, and even-minded in both happiness and distress, who is forgiving, ever content, endowed with bhakti yoga, in control of his senses, resolute in determination, and dedicated to me in both mind and intelligence, is very dear to me. Then Śrīla Saccidānanda Ṭhākura in his Sarata Varshini says, what is the nature of the devotees who have attained the aforementioned stage of peace? Expecting this question from Arjuna, Sri Bhagavan is explaining in 8 verses the various qualities of his different types of devotees, the first of which begins with the word adveshta. A person who is not envious of one who envies him, but instead maintains a friendly attitude toward him, is called adveshta. He's not even envious towards those who envies him. Desiring that such a discontented person should not become degraded or fall down due to his envious attitude, the devotee feels only compassion for him. If someone questions how and with what type of discrimination one can show friendship and compassion toward an envious person, the answer is that this happens without discrimination. Because my devotee is nirmama, devoid of a feeling of possessiveness for son, wife, and so forth, having no false identification with the body, he is free from envy of anyone. Furthermore, why should he discriminate when he could avoid the misery arising from envy by not doing so? One may wonder if he would feel any bodily pain if another person ran into him to punch him or beat him with a shoe. In response, Bhagavan says, Sama dukkha sukha. He remains even-minded both in happiness and in misery. I like that though. Why should he discriminate when he can avoid the misery arising from envy by not doing so? Okay, what's this?
Yeah,
this is from... Yes.
It's just said punch. Someone being punched. She said something there about punch. A reflection on the word punch. The Bengali or Sanskrit word punch means 5. And what do you do when you punch someone? Is you have 5 fingers and you. I think it could have derived the English word.
Oh, the word punch means 5. Yeah, yeah, punch. Yeah, that's good. That's neat. Okay, so let's see. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj says, what does he say? Okay, this is from the Art of Sadhan. Only a true saint, fixed in the eternal religion of devotion, fixed in the eternal religion of devotion to the one supreme truth, can harmonize all conflicting points of view and produce lasting peace. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. The complete whole and is all-pervading. All apparent contradictions are resolved in him. Similarly, the devotee who is exclusively devoted to the Lord is capable of harmonizing all different philosophical positions from his transcendental vantage point. Therefore, when one shows preference to such a devotee, one is in fact following a policy of non-preferential treatment towards any religious domination. In the second of the Srimad Bhagavatam's invocatory verses, the non-envious saint has been described as a person who is uniquely qualified to engage in the true eternal religion from which all cheating tendencies have been discarded. The word Mātsarya, envy, indicates the inability to tolerate another's good fortune or happiness. Enviousness within individuals does not allow proper distinction between the inner self and the material self. That's interesting, huh? Enviousness within individuals does not allow proper distinction between the inner self and the material self. Such envy creates philosophical ideas based on distinctions between that which one possesses and that which belongs to others. Such envy is the source of war and other disruptions. Of course, varieties exist in the divine dimension, but the lack of unity arising from such varieties does not result in any real conflict, because each individual is firmly fixed in the non-dual supreme truth, the source of spiritual harmony. On the other hand, it is impossible to harmonize the materialistic propensity with the spiritual. The futile efforts to legislate harmony between these mutually opposing realities merely contributes to further unrest and disharmony. The sun, which allows us to see, cannot compromise with the darkness that obstructs vision. Similarly, the non-envious nature cannot accommodate the envious nature of the mundane. Rather, it drives it away and proclaims its conquest, just as the rising sun dispels darkness and brings auspiciousness to the world. In this way, supreme peace comes to reign in the world. Oh, that was very deep.
That whole presentation you just read then is like a glorious expansion on 529 in the Bhagavad Gita, the peace formula.
Yes, could you tell more? Yeah.
Well, Krishna is the possessor of everything. It's not envy arises from thinking, oh, that person has that thing, I want to have that thing. It's the confusion of what belongs to anyone. As if you are accepting and embracing the reality that nothing belongs to any of us, it all belongs to Krishna. And then he is the enjoyer of all those things. And that what does that mean to us is because he's our friend, that we are able to, if we have the right attitude, share in all that. We're able to participate in all that. We don't need to be so conflicted.
Yeah. It's like if we boil down every unwanted thing, that it all culminates in enviousness. And the opposite of enviousness is all these good qualities and becoming established in a relationship with Krishna. And then automatically the enviousness goes away, right?
There is one thing there though, like in Madhurya Kadambini, in Gurudev's commentary in the third shower, there is a part when he's saying when envy is there, actually when Pratishta comes, it's together with Pratishta that comes envy. Actually, the reason why we feel envy towards anyone is because we actually want to be worshipped. And if someone is more worshipped than us, then envy comes. So actually, the root of that is this desire, like this false ego that wanting to be as the center, as the worship. So actually, the problem with envy is that Pratishta is always there. It's the two things are together, and that's why it's like totally opposite what love is,
Wow, that's
I can read
nice.
this. I cannot read properly English, but I will read what Gurudev say. He say, when the desire for Pratishta find a place in the heart, then Pratishta's most beloved companion, envy, also takes shelter there. They cohabit because of their reciprocal conjugal mood. The dog-eating outcast of envy impregnates the witch of desire for recognition, who begets the twins violence and jealousy.
Wow. And isn't Pratishta is the very last thing to leave us, right? Like we went through that once before, the eradication of anarthas in Madhurya Kadambini. And even at the very last stage, even at Bhav, even though everything has been removed, all anarthas have been removed, but there's still a smell of anartha. Even though it's not there, the smell is still there. And that is also Pratishta, right? And I think Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Goswami Maharaj, was it him? Or I think Gurudev also said that it like runs in our veins. It's like in our blood. It's like, it's so much And that's very, yeah, just to know that envy is, how did he word it, Manjulali Didi? What was it? The most dear
it's like his
companion?
beloved companion.
Beloved companion.
Pratishtha and his beloved companion Envy, they always together. And they have two kids, that is this Himsa and Irsha.
Himsa and Irsha.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Irsha and Mātsarya? Because they both kind of mean like jealousy and envy. They're very similar.
I think jealousy means more to something specific, you know? I think it's like envy is just in general, but jealousy is like, I'm jealous of like something specific, you know, like this person sings so beautiful, I'm jealous of that, you know, like it's just, I think it's something more inside envy. You have like something more like, I don't know how to say it in English.
Okay. And what is the Bhakta Dveshi Jane? There's shoot.
There is nothing for envy. Yeah, but there is nothing for envy.
Yeah. That verse by Narottam Das Thakur, how does it go?
Krishna Seva Kamarpan. The first one is Kama.
Kama Krishna Karmarpane. Kama Krishna Karmarpane.
Krodha Bhakti Dvesha Jane.
Lova Sadhusanga Harikata. Moha Ishta Lave Bine. And then Amada Krishna Gunagane Niyukta Korivo something.
Hare Krishna. Haribo. Oh, can you all hear me? Sorry, the power went out and okay, great. The power went out and the Wi-Fi also went out, so I just switched over to my mobile connection. Sorry if I cut anybody off if somebody was speaking. Yeah, so what that verse by Narottam Das Thakur. So every single one of these 6 foes, well, no, the 5 foes, they can all be used in Krishna service. Like they it's not that we want to get rid of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, Mada. We just have to dovetail him towards Krishna, right? So we let me just find that verse in Kamarpane. No, Kamarpane, sorry. Kamarpane. What is it?
Okay, it's open.
Kama Krishna Karmarpane.
Sorry. Okay, I got it.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I just Googled the difference between envy and jealousy. And it just envy is can be a noun or a verb to begin with, and jealousy is always a noun. Envy means discontented, longing for someone else's advantages, and jealousy means unpleasant suspicion or apprehension of rivalryship.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, so those 5 things can be used can be dovetailed towards Krishna, but not Mātsarya, not envy.
Not envy.
Although, I mean, this is a totally different thing. I probably shouldn't even mention it. But what is it? Asuya is one of the Sanchari bhavs, but that's a completely different topic. That's all. But that's not dovetailed. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, it's one of the Sanchari bhavs, and envy, like amongst the gopis, right? But that's actually coming from love, and that's a completely. It's probably not even appropriate to mention that when we're talking about this. So yeah, no, there's no way to dovetail Mātsarya towards Krishna. Yeah. All right.
One thing was mentioned before about Mātsarya having a friend, Pratishtha, right? That was the statement that was made before.
Beloved companion. Yeah.
Yes, beloved companion, which personifies Mātsarya. So these have personality, these qualities.
Yes. Yeah, the embodiment. Yeah.
How can you have a friend if you're not a person, right? So Mātsarya is a personified, is a personality. So is Pratishtha.
It's very helpful to see them not just as like, to see them as something other, you know, like if you see them as a personality rather than just seeing it as like, oh, this is a trait which is in me. If you're able to like separate it from yourself and see it, it's very helpful. And yeah, so that's why we see it all the time. It's compared to personalities, like, oh my God, I don't want to be with that person. And so we can disassociate ourselves from it a little bit. Just makes it easier, I think. Yeah.
We need an exorcism.
Yes.
One other point of contemplation was the verse was quoted before, the two verses, chapter 2, text 62, 63, the one of Dhyayato Vishayan Pungsa. The contemplation of the objects of the senses is where the whole material life begins from. But conversely, it's the contemplation of these spiritual topics which leads us in the other direction. It's this kind of discussion, this kind of contemplation, because we have to contemplate something. We cannot. There's no idleness. There's no vacuum in the mind. It's constantly active with something. Unless it's active in spiritual contemplation, spiritual subject matter, it's going to reach for contemplation of Dhyayato Vishayan.
That's a very important point, because okay. When we find ourselves when we talk about these things, about all these qualities that I have, all these, and we start to understand them very clearly, then when it comes up, we can look at it in a lot more of a like neutral viewpoint. Like we're already kind of prepared to like, we're like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening now. And we can start to think of how to deal with it, rather than just like something that arises in me and I am completely hopeless to deal with it. I don't even realize what's going on and I'm just like controlled and I react to whatever situation. If we actually like discuss it,
being paralyzed by it, yeah.
Yeah. And then when it comes up, then we're like, okay, I've thought about this before. I've read Acharya's words on this. I know what's going on. I know how to deal with it. And so it's very important to have discussions of these topics, definitely, and to read and educate ourselves. So that, yeah. Then we know how to deal with it. Yeah, and we're preparing ourselves for when it comes up, like when it really comes up, we're like, we know what's happening. Yeah, I'm repeating myself anyhow. All right. Does anybody have another point they want to mention? If not, we can end with kirtan and we'll end our session for today. If anybody has one last thing to say? All right, so we'll do a little kirtan and oh, that would be a good song to sing. That song by Narottam Das Thakur. I don't have it open though. How does the song begin? It's from Prem Bhakti Chandrika, right? Whatever. I'm not going to waste time. I'll just do Mahamantra and then we'll end like that. Actually, there's another song, Thakur Vaishnava Gan. That's a nice one. That might be nice. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here, let's sing this song. I just open it up and then we'll end. If anybody needs to go now, you can totally. Yeah, it's a short song. Here. Okay. 1 second. There. Ṭhākura Vaishnavagan Koriye Nivedan Moboroya Damadurachara Daruna Sangsara Nidhi Tahe Dubai Vidhi Keshe Dhori More Koro Par Vidhi Boro Balavan Na Shune Dharama Gyan Shadai Karama Pashe Bandhe Na Deki Taranalesh Jata Dekhi Saplesh Anataka Tarete Kande Kama Krodha Lobha Moha Madaya Bhimana Saha Apanaya Panastane Tane Aichanaya Marman Fire Jeno Andhajan Aichanaya Marman Fire Jeno Andhajan Supatavi Patanahi Jane Supatavi Patanahi Jane Naloino Satamata Asatima Jilo Chita Tua Payena Korino Asha Narottama Dase Koi Dekhi Shuni Lage Bhoi Tarai Aloho Neja Pasha Taraiya Aloho Neja Pasha Narottama Dase Koi Dekhi Shuni Lage Bhoi Taraiya Aloho Neja Pasha Taraiya Aloho Neja Pash Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Manjulali Didi, would you like to do Jai Dwani? No problem if you don't.
No, do it you. Sorry.
Okay. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shata Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Saccidānanda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Anugaurya Guru Varga ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Daita Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All the associates of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, and all of their followers ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Ṭhākura ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jai Shri this article Mātsarya by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. All the writings of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Shri Harinam, all the near Mātsarya Vaishnavas ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams, everybody. I love this picture that Krishna Kurnia Prabhu, or Krishna Kurnia Maharaj selected for this article. You can just see the envy in that crow there. All right. So Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu and Pavatarani Mataji and Archana Didi, Ashray Prabhu, Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, Manjulali Didi, Sri Devi Didi, Archana, I already said Archana Didi, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, Anjali Didi, Champak Mataji, Indira Mataji, and everybody on YouTube and Facebook, Vidyalalasa Didi, Shubhananda Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, and everybody else. Dandavat Pranams. And Gauranga Prabhu is saying that he remembers listening to an article about envy and his commentary on Sri Upadeshamrita. Interesting. He says, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura says that for the devotees on the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, the only rule is prem and the only prohibition is Mātsarya. Wow. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Wow. The only rule is prem and the only prohibition is Mātsarya. Wow. All right, and just checking to see if there are any comments here. No. Is Nrsimha Chaturdashi. So I have no idea what we'll do for the program tomorrow. If anybody has any suggestions, maybe we should just go straight to Srimad Bhagavatam and read from that. Or if there's any special article, there's that very special song by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. We'll sing that one. That's in Navadvip Bhav Taranga. But yeah, I don't know. If anybody has suggestions what we should do for Nrsimha Chaturdashi tomorrow, please let me know. See you all. Jai Nrsimha Dev. Haribol. Jai Shri Radhe.